What's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? The Boxing Source checking in here, and I wanted to talk about this news that just was shared earlier today in reference to the plans for Canelo Alvarez, or as I usually say, Santos Saul Alvarez Barragan. And just a quick little plug here. Be sure to give this video a like if you enjoy the content, and also subscribe to the Boxing Source. This YouTube channel, we have interviews, we have podcasts, we have a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to the sport of boxing. So if you can, just hit that like button if you like this video, and also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get the most recent news or reactions to what's going on in the sport of boxing. Now let's get to it. You got Salvador Rodriguez out of ESPN that pretty much said on Twitter that all signs point to Canelo Alvarez facing Jermall Charlo and Terrence Crawford in 2024. That's right, Jermall Charlo and Terrence Crawford for 2024. Now, the thing about it is, we kind of like seeing that he was likely going to face Jermall Charlo. We had, previous reports out there. We had something from 210 Boxing TV. Shout out to Brandon there of 210 Boxing TV. You also had there from Warwick Radio Network that, we had inklings of that particular fight happening on Cinco de Mayo weekend here in 2024. So May 4th, 2024, Canelo Alvarez versus Jermall Charlo. And you know what? We pretty much mentioned it in one of the previous reports here on the Boxing Source channel about that particular fight happening. But it was just about what was going to be Canelo's opponent in September. Well, I mean, you had a few candidates out there, and one of them in particular was David Benavidez, yes, the WBC interim champion at super middleweight. Of course, had his recent win over Demetrius Andrade. And, a lot of people have been calling for that particular fight. But it looks like here, going off of this report that kind of like has been put out there, that it looks like it will be Canelo Alvarez going up against Terrence Crawford in September. Most likely that's around Mexican Independence Weekend there, and it'll probably be in Las Vegas. Now let's kind of break this down a little bit, or kind of like say, okay, if this is going to be the plan, here, well, now, hey, Terrence Crawford will have an opponent, a big-time opponent here for 2024. Now, we had something as far as like him potentially having a rematch against Errol Spence Jr. And you had Errol Spence Jr. that went through cataract surgery. So it would be some time before Errol Spence would be able to be in full health to, get back in the ring. So, it kind of like says, okay, then who was Terrence Crawford going to fight? Now, he said that he wants big fights, he wants big events. After becoming the undisputed welterweight champion in July of last year with his win over Errol Spence Jr. So you only had, a few options out there for Terrence Crawford. You had, Jermall Charlo, former undisputed champion at super welterweight. You had, Canelo Alvarez. Tim Tszyu was mentioned as a potential opponent as well for Terrence Crawford. Juan Business was mentioned as a potential opponent for Terrence Crawford, but it just looked like they were more interested in having big fights, big events there that would kind of generate a lot of money or generate a big purse for Terrence Crawford. So hey, if he's able to secure this fight with Canelo Alvarez, that would be in September of this year most likely. Then that would of course be a huge fight, and probably the biggest fight that could potentially be out there in the sport of boxing, with two guys, pound for pound fighters that would be squaring off there within the super middleweight division. It would be for the undisputed super middleweight championship most likely. Now, is that the move or the best move there for Terrence Crawford? I'm not sure. Hey, y'all could share your thoughts in reference to that. That's probably the best fight that would be out there for Terrence Crawford at this particular point. So you have that on one sense. Now on the other side, you have Canelo Alvarez. Now, a lot of people have felt like Canelo Alvarez should be facing David Benavidez. David Benavidez, undefeated, like I said, is the WBC interim champion at 168 pounds, and has been looking for that fight against Canelo Alvarez for at least, a couple years. But it just seems like, with this deal or the plan that had been put out there for Canelo Alvarez, once he was, there with Premier Boxing Champions, that, it just didn't look like David Benavidez was in the immediate plans. And, here, it just seems like still no, because, you had something where when Canelo had initially signed that the plan would be like, he would face, Jermall Charlo, and then you'll eventually, maybe face Errol Spence. before, Errol Spence lost to Terrence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight titles. So now it looks like Terrence Crawford is the one that is in the picture to face Canelo Alvarez here in 2024. So, I mean, that kind of like, makes things, be, I guess, very exciting for some fans. But at the flip side, you have a number of people that say that Canelo Alvarez should be facing David Benavidez, and that, fighting Terrence Crawford shouldn't really be in the picture there for Canelo Alvarez. It should be David Benavidez to kind of like say, you know what? I've stamped my legacy here in the super middleweight division by not only becoming the undisputed champion at super middleweight, but, being the best fighters there available at super middleweight. And right now, David Benavidez is, that guy that would be right up there as a top fighter in the super middleweight division. Now, all of this, we still have to wait on, okay, what's going to be the announcement for the Cinco de Mayo weekend, May 4th, 2024. What the fight is going to be for Canelo Alvarez. It's looking like it's going to be Jermall Charlo. We might be able to get a couple more hints as to if that fight is actually happening before of course, the announcement takes place. So you still have to wait on that. But also the thing with Terrence Crawford too is, well, he would be able to, step up to face Canelo Alvarez. But would that be his only fight in 2024? It would be his last fight was that July 29, 2023 against Errol Spence Jr. And if there's not going to be a rematch for Crawford and Errol Spence, then that could potentially be his next fight. So that would really be a great challenge there for Terrence Crawford if his next bout would be against Canelo Alvarez in September. But we'll see what happens with that. Share your thoughts on it. Is this the right move or the best move here for Canelo Alvarez if he has his plan of facing Jermall Charlo and Terrence Crawford in 2024? Or should he be facing David Benavidez? Go ahead and share your thoughts, drop your comments, and as I mentioned before, if you like the video, hit the like button. Don't hurt. We appreciate the support. With that being said, I'm out. Peace.